Let's look at the heart. We want to look at the heart and see how the heart operates. Now, the heart is a place where you and I, it's a part of the mind, where we make decisions. And those decisions are made based upon really two criteria: gain and loss. We make all of our decisions from the heart, from this concept, this context of gain and loss. And we function in a way that we always say yes to gain and we always say no to loss. For example, if you're stuck in a room and the only way of getting out is to go out either the brown door or the black door, if you go out the brown door, you receive $1,000, but if you go out the black door, you pay $1,000. Which door are you going out? Well, of course, you're going to go out the brown door. Why? Because if you're confronted between a gain and a loss, you're always going to choose the gain over a loss. Now, if you have the same scenario, except if you go out the brown door, you'll receive $1,000. If you go out the black door, you receive $10. Which door are you going out? Well, you're still going out the brown door. In this case, it's slightly different. You're confronted with two gains, and you will always choose the greater gain over a smaller gain. And finally, brown door, black door scenario, if you go out the black door, you pay $1,000, but if you go out the brown door, you pay $10, and there's no other way of getting out of the room. Which door are you going out? Well, of course, you're going out the brown door. Because if you're confronted with two losses, you always choose the smaller loss over the greater loss. That's how we always function. And Jesus told us in the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 6:21, he said, "For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." Where your treasure is, there your heart will be. And the treasure is the system by which we determine whether something is a gain or whether it's a loss, and how much of a gain and how much of a loss that it is. And this drives what we choose. This drives what we do. And this is a function of the heart, again, a part of the mind. Now, because we function this way, then when it comes to temptation, the enemy cannot tempt us to lose, because loss is no temptation at all. For example, if I offer you some poison, and that poison will kill you. It will kill you slowly. It'll be very painful while you die. It'll take months to years, and there's no antidote for that poison. Well, want some? No? Are you sure? Well, it's a pretty blue-purple color. Not interested? Why not? Well, it's because loss is no temptation at all. No temptation at all. Now, the enemy, he could have come to Eve like this. And he could have offered her the fruit and said, "Here, eat this. You'll die. You'll lose everyone you love. Everything will die. Everything will perish. You'll just lose it all. Want some?" Well, that wouldn't have been a smart way of trying to tempt her, because that's no temptation at all. So what does the enemy have to do? If he can't tempt us to lose, he has to trick us into believing that loss is gain and gain is loss. He has to turn our whole evaluation system upside down. And in the Garden of Eden, that's exactly what happened. You see, God told Adam and Eve, don't eat of, you can eat of all the trees in the garden, but don't eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. For in the day that you eat of it, you will surely die. You'll lose if you eat it, but you'll gain if you don't eat it. Well, God created Adam and Eve for first class. And in order to put them in first class, he withheld from them economy. And the enemy came along and he said, "Hey, what are you doing in economy? First class is over there." Now, it was a lie. It was a deception. It was not true. God said, if you eat it, you lose. And the enemy said, if you don't eat it, you lose. He just took the whole thing, turned it upside down, so that it was completely opposite, and then made it look like what Eve did not have was better than what she did have. That what God withheld from her was better than what he gave to her. It was a deception, but she bought into the deception, and when she did so, Genesis 3 and verse 6. So when the woman saw, when she believed that the tree was good for food, that it was pleasant to the eyes and a tree desirable to make one wise, she took of its fruit and she ate it. And in that moment, her world turned upside down. And when Adam followed her in that deception as well. His world turned upside down. And now their evaluation system is now upside down. They see loss as gain, and they see gain as loss, and all of their decisions are made backwards, upside down, based upon their new evaluation system. And what happens when somebody finally gets to the top of the mountain? Oh, there's an exhilaration. Whoa, life is wonderful. I've made it to the very top. But what happens when you get to the very top and your whole world is upside down? Where did you just get to? The very bottom, thinking you are climbing to the very top. Welcome to the sinful heart. Upside down. Exultant that we have made it to the top when we have climbed to the very bottom.